Today we are in Roatan, Honduras, and you can see this beach behind me. We're docked at Mahogany Bay. So there are two different docks that you can dock at here. Royal Caribbean is at another one, and then we are here with Princess, and then there's a Carnival ship right next to us as well. So I think all the Carnival Corporation docks here at Mahogany Bay. And we're going to be meeting with Roatan Five Stars tour group and going to the Sloths, either AJ's or Daniel Johnson, whichever one is less crowded, and then we're going to be going to Brady's Cay after that. So I'm just going to show you how you get to where the tour operators are, and then also show you a little bit of what we're going to do today here in port. So I got a little shot of us actually pulling in before we ported, so you could see the walkway that we would have to get to before we even got to where the Carnival ship was. And then to the right, you can see that there is a beach area. There are two ways that you can get to that beach area. They do have a sky lift, and then they also have that bridge that you can walk over to get to that area. You can rent chairs there, and then it does cost to take the chairlift across. I'm not sure how much it is, but that is one option if you're wanting to just stay close by. You can either walk over there or take the sky lift to that beach area, which is very close to the two ships, the Princess and the Carnival ship. It is a little bit of a further area from where the Royal Caribbean ship was docked. While we were in port today, we did have 3 ships here, and as you can see, there's the little walkway. If you have strollers and things, you could walk over that, or you can take that chairlift and rent some cabanas or some of the beach chairs. And they also had some water activities over there as well. So when you get to the end of the walkway, you're going to have to go through the duty-free shop. And you can see it's very close to the Carnival ship there. Once you get through the duty-free area, you do have a little bit of a ways to get to any of your tour groups. Now, this is the Mahogany Bay port, and you can see there is a little elevation for anyone. You do have to go to the top of this to meet with any of your ship shore excursion groups. They had both Carnival and Princess up at the top of this hill, but then if you're doing any kind of private tours, you do have to go a little bit further away because the port area is so small. They don't allow the tour groups to actually come in, but when they bring you back, you can actually come all the way up to the port area. But in this area here at the top of the hill, you can see the signs where you would meet your shore excursions. There's also local people offering you city tours as well, different excursions within the city. And then you've got your normal shops that you usually see, your Diamonds International, all of the shops that you see at most of your ports. And this is just a neat little area that's pretty spread out. There's also an Avis counter here, so I guess if you want to rent a car, you could do that from here, which is really convenient. You don't have to go off-site to get a rental car, so that's very nice. But you're going to have to walk through this building. That was the 2-story building with, I think it was a red roof, and then you go all the way through it, and then you can see there are some steps at the end of this that you have to go up, or you can go up the road. Then you're going to have quite a bit of a walk to try to get to the area where all of your tour operators are there. And once you kind of go up this hill and then you have to go back down the hill, you will see signs for all of the different tour groups. So we were looking for Roatan 5 Stars. So once we saw their sign, then they got us to the right person. They did have different tour groups within the Roatan 5 Stars, but you'll see everybody waiting right there. So our tour was a combo tour. The first stop was to see the Sloths, and they were going to determine whether we went to Daniel Johnson's or AJ's, depending on how much the wait was. So when we got there, they said it was going to be a 45-minute wait, but it actually turned into about an hour and a half before we were able to go back there. The first thing we did was get to pet and hold some guinea pigs, and then they took you to the next area. That was the sloths, where you got to hug the sloth and hold the sloth, which was a really neat experience. So they did break you into groups of probably about, I think there was 10 or 12 of us in our group, and they had 4 sloths that they put between the all of us, and it was just a really neat experience. For some reason, my oldest did not want to hug the sloth, but my youngest was just extremely excited about it. So there are the 2 places that you can go. So we went to AJ's, and this was our first stop. Our guide ended up staying with us the entire time, and we told them when we wanted them to pick us up, which was right after we docked. We went straight to meet them, and then AJ's was our first stop. You also get to hold a bird if you want to do that as well. And then they had some spider monkeys, which they specifically tell you to stay away from them because they are very aggressive. And then they also had some different kind of monkeys where you could go in there and pet them. And so they gave my little one a Coke bottle and told them to let the monkeys see the Coke bottle. But this was the first part of the combo tour, was going to AJ's to the sloth encounter, which was a really great experience. It was just quite a bit of a wait once we got there, and then we met back with our tour guide. He stayed there the entire time, and then he took us to our next destination, which was Brady's Cay. So after we left AJ's, the same driver that stayed with us the entire time at AJ's took us to take a ferry. So you can see where we got the ferry at, to Brady's Cay. So you can see this little small island. It is directly across from Little French Key and Big French Key, but I thought this one may be a little less crowded than the two of them, but it ended up not being. So the tour that we did, the combo tour, was $120 for adults, and then it was $99 for children, and there was 6 of us, so it was kind of a costly excursion. And so I would have thought once we got to Brady's Cay that we would have some kind of chair reserved for us, that would be included with the price. But when we got there, it was extremely crowded, and we actually would have not gotten any chairs in the shade had it not been for this family of 4 that were getting ready to leave, and they told us that we could have their chairs. Other than that, all the chairs that were available were in the sun, and there were hardly any of those left when we got there. And we probably docked about, I think it was 8 o'clock, and then we got over here around noon, and it was just completely full. There are some chairs right here that you can see that we actually drug into the water, and you can sit in those and float around in the water. That was a neat little experience. So our excursion also included lunch and 2 drinks. They could have been alcoholic, soft drinks, water, whatever you wanted, and those were included with the tour price. The only problem is they were out of almost everything. So they gave us a menu to choose from, and every time we would order something, they would say they were out. So that was a little disappointing that you couldn't get what you wanted. And then we tried to get some Gatorades for the kids. They said they were out of them as well. So basically anything we were trying to order, they were out of. It was very crowded, which I did not expect. And then also included in the price of the tour was a water activity. So we chose to do kayaking. So it's me and my youngest. My oldest, again, didn't want to go kayaking or do anything. So it was just me and my adventurous child that was kayaking. And this was his first time ever kayaking, and I think he did a pretty good job. There's also a banana boat ride that you can do. You have to have a minimum of 4, but that's an additional cost. And then also there were some jet skis. We did see some guys that were going out on the jet ski. They couldn't go too far, but that is also another option. You can see the banana boat right there. But there are a lot of different areas here. There's a little swing where you can swing, but it stayed pretty full the entire time. This is actually as we were getting ready to leave, because it was close to the time when the ships were leaving, so you can see how uncrowded it is at this time. Most of the people have already left. But then once you get back, the driver took us straight back to the ship. We were there probably about an hour and a half before the ship actually left. So I would highly recommend Roatan 5 Stars. I think they are a really good company, but I think that Brady's Cay was a little bit overcrowded. So we're back on the ship here at Roatan, and there's that beach behind me. It's starting to get a little less crowded. It was very crowded earlier because it seems like we're ported here with Carnival, so there were a lot of people getting off and going over there. But what we did today was we got a private tour with Roatan 5 Stars. Highly recommend this tour company. They were great. Our driver waited everywhere with us and was there to pick us up whenever we needed to. So we first went to AJ's to hold the sloths and to see all the things that you could see at AJ's. It was either AJ's or Daniel Johnson's, and AJ's seemed to be the less crowded one, but it was still a 45-minute wait is what they told us when we got there. But then it ended up being about an hour and a half before we actually got to get back there and do anything. And then we had a ferry ride that took us to Brady's Cay. It's about a 5-minute ride there, and our package included lunch with 2 drinks per person and a water activity, which was either kayaking or paddle board or snorkel gear, and we had our own snorkel gear there. It was a really fun day, but it was super crowded, and I didn't expect it to be as crowded as it was. I highly recommend Roatan 5 Stars. The tour guide stayed with us, but it is a little bit of a walk to get to actually where they're at, and I just highly recommend them. Not sponsored. We paid for everything on this trip, but I think that they were great. They communicated really well, and it is a private tour group, not with the cruise ship, so if you're a little bit scared for that, I actually got them from a recommendation from Travel Scouts, watching one of their videos. They had used them, so I thought that I would use them as well, and I do highly recommend them. I think they're a great company to go with if you want a private tour. So I hope you enjoyed this video on what we did in Roatan, Honduras. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I would love to see you in my next video. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.